Most frustrating missed opportunity, maybe even more so than Brady Aiken and that catastrophe, was JD Martinez. Astros diehards know what happened after they released him, Ben, but you tell this, I would call it sort of a serendipitous story about how Astros hitting coach John Maley started a chain of events that turned his career around. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That's right. I mean, as I write in the book, and I think people have an idea, the Aiken thing I wouldn't consider to be a disaster at all. It was certainly a difficult decision, and it was embarrassing. But if they had not failed to sign Brady Aiken, they would not have Alex Bregman right now. So I think probably every Astros fan and the Astros themselves would have gone down that path again. JD Martinez was different. There's no silver lining here. This was a screw-up, probably their biggest screw-up of their entire run. Martinez, as everybody knows, was in the big leagues for a couple years. He was okay, certainly below average, didn't have a lot of power, couldn't run well, didn't play defense, a fringe guy. Not probably a guy that any analytics or any analysis, I should say, would suggest would be a big contributor going forward. And he knew this, and he had that conversation with John Maley, who said basically, you need to change something, man, if you're going to stick around. So he decided to change something. Now, it's hard for somebody who's made the big leagues and who's been doing things his whole life the same way to do that. But that's what JD Martinez did. He went out to California and worked with these hitting gurus, Craig Wallenbrock and Robert von Skoyak, who had previously helped Ryan Braun become what he'd become, and Jason Castro turn from kind of a light hitting catcher into an all-star, and completely overhauled his swing, giving it an uppercut, just changing his weight load, changing everything about it. He went down to Venezuela for Winter League that offseason to put it in action, and he was crushing the ball. And he came back to spring training. He sat down with Jeff Luhnow and Bo Porter, the manager, and he said, guys, I've changed. I swear, it feels great. Just give me a chance this spring to show you what I can do now. I'm different. And they said they would. They didn't. He got 18 at-bats that spring, and then they cut him. A couple days later, he's signed by the Tigers. He comes back in a minor league game against the Astros in Kissimmee, hits 3 bombs in a single game. Jeff Luhnow's in the bleachers. He told me, he's sitting there, he's like, oh my God, what did I just do? And what they did was they cut exactly the type of player they're looking for, which is a cheap superstar. He continues to be, a top 5 hitter in the game today. A lot of teams, I don't know, they might have kind of made excuses for this. They might have come up with all sorts of reasons why it wasn't their fault. This is one part of the Astros process. They learned from this. They decided that going forward, if a guy came in spring training, said he'd made changes, they would give him a chance to show it. And they also invested in some technology that can actually track bat speed and angle and things like that to show them if those changes are real.
Yeah, the quote you had from Martinez, I thought basically typified what everybody thought about the Astros and this whole idea of analytics. He says they had all this data, all these nerds and geeks, and I think they forgot that at the end of the day, everybody is still human, and a human can adapt, and a human can adjust. And I guess that's exactly what the Astros proved wasn't what they were all about when they just won the World Series.
Right. They certainly advanced from 2014. And it is interesting that JD Martinez is still pissed off about this. I talked to him after he signed $110 million contract with the Red Sox, made his fortune. He'd been an all-star, superstar level hitter, and he's still upset with what happened at the end of his tenure in Houston, which I thought was pretty interesting.
I'm sure Jeff's pretty upset too.
He is. To Jeff's credit, look, he hugged JD Martinez the first time he saw him when he came back as a member of the Tigers. He said he wishes the best for him. And I think that he genuinely does. Maybe in part because it kind of showed him a way that they could significantly improve their process.
You're listening to Houston Sports Talk.